Welcome to today's Seidokan Saturday. Today we're going to look at moving from Shodan to Nidan. One of the first things that I require from my students to go from Shodan to Nidan is reversing techniques. Now most kata, seisan, anaku, we do a right, we do a left side. Pinyans, there's all the symmetry built into the pinyans on purpose. For purely combative purposes, is it necessary to be able to do both sides? Maybe not. Depends, okay? It's like an old man's underwear, depends. But essentially, the premise is that 75-80% of the population is right-handed. Again, we're not working against MMA trained fighters because those guys generally don't provoke things in public. So they're less, again, we're playing percentages, that the type of individual against whom we're going to defend ourselves is right-handed and just some loony with a bad attitude in terms of public violence situations. If you're looking for MMA and fighting as opposed to self-defense, and again, we're looking at different parameters. But left-handed or opposite side techniques become handy, especially if I'm going to teach a class and I'm standing in front of the class. Not everybody can watch my right hand and then turn around and extrapolate it to their right hand. A lot of people are going to move in the same direction. So as an instructor, you get to decide, am I going to have everybody learn to go the opposite and deal with that frustration? Or am I also going to be able to do my left hand when I say right? Okay, everybody's right hand, good. Start with a right hand punch, good. We're going to kick with the right leg, good. And I'm doing all left-handed in order to mirror the class. So again, from Shodan to Nidan, there's going to be some teaching opportunities, even in small settings, and it helps to be able to do that. That's one. Number two, if we're doing all things right-handed, just in terms of body symmetry, we're not always going to be on balance. Andre Agassi had a lot of negative press early in his career because he could never close out those majors. He'd get to the finals of the French Open or the US Open or Wimbledon or whatever, and he just couldn't close them out. And he hired a personal trainer who, instead of working on his strong forearm, and if you've seen tennis players, they usually have one forearm like Popeye and the other one like olive oil. And so what his trainer did was he worked opposite side of the body and built up his strength. And this is also when Agassi began using the two-handed backhand. And what happened? Well, besides divorcing Brooke Shields, which helped him, he began winning major tournaments and became one of the great major tournament winners of his era back with Pete Sampras. So learning to use the opposite strengthens our body. It reduces imbalances. A lot of musculoskeletal issues come because of strength imbalances in our body. If I have a sprained ankle and then the ankle heals, 2 months later, I have a bad knee because I spent all my time limping and putting the pressure on that knee. Then finally my knee heals and all of a sudden I'm having hip problems. So I went from my ankle here to my knee here. I call it the zigzag effect. And 10 months down the road, I'm getting migraines in my right temple and I can't explain it. It's because that stress pressure worked its way up through my body in a zigzag fashion. If we create symmetry and try to use both sides of our body as equally as possible, and it's not 100% doable for everybody, but the more I strengthen my weak side, the less it's imbalanced with the opposite side. And so longevity, health, musculoskeletal system health is improved. So we have ability to teach, musculoskeletal improvement. The same thing, we saw studies when I was taking my master's courses on people with overhead sports, again, going back to tennis, but you see also baseball pitchers, volleyball hitters who use primarily one side. And we saw the scapula from behind on the strong hand was really stretched and loose, and so it would seriously be imbalanced. So the goal was strengthen and tighten this side, stretch and loosen the opposite side, again, for the symmetry, balance, longevity, and health of the athlete. So those are the two first main reasons. Third reason is purely from a self-defense standpoint. So we're going to start with our Seidokan Yakusoku. Seidokan Uke Kamae. Right. So when he's punching right-handed, we start our Seidokan. Hey, I step right, block left, turn, punch right. That's Yakusoku 1. Okay? punching left. Hey, I can still do the exact same right foot back, left hand block, right punch. I didn't have to change a thing. Seidokan Yakusoku 2. Right hand first. Hey, I move off line, punch, left hand. Hey, same movement, same left step, same punch. I didn't have to change a thing. Seidokan Yakusoku 3. Hey, I move off line, take the hand, roundhouse kick, left punch. Hey, it's a little different, but I can essentially do the same basic motion. 4. Hey, on the right, I step, left foot, left hand, right hand strike. On the left, hey, left foot, left hand, and the same foot, strike, where I could change targets. So essentially the same. What about 5? 5, okay, face punch. Hey, step left, elbow right. Hey, step left, elbow right. Now, I'm facing the free hand in some of those cases, but if I'm coming in and right away hitting, I can negate that hand with the speed of my strike if we're putting it into a more reality base. Now, these are not reality techniques. These are what we call practice drills, okay? If you're expecting to go to a football game, but you show up and you see a practice and you see a receiver running a route with no defense and the quarterback just picking the ball up off the ground and throwing it, you don't critique that as useless. That's just a training drill. Oh, but now we put the whole offensive line in and the whole offense, and we put the defense in place, but tell them to just stand in their zone positions, and we run the same play. I'm going to complete that pass pretty easily because the defense is doing nothing. That's a practice. They do that. When I coached basketball, same thing. I take the ball, I pass it to this guy, you run over here, and you have to go through it in a practice format. So these are practice drills to teach us our bodies how to block, move, etc. Okay, so we were on 5, 6, right kick, hey. Same thing, left kick, hey. I don't seriously have to change anything yet. Now we get to these last 5 techniques, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11. Yes, I can't do them on a left punch by doing the same side technique. So we need to be able to reverse the things, okay? So left-handed also helps my uke because now he's learning to punch with the other hand, which is less accustomed, and the same benefits, the ability to teach in mirror image, balancing out the sides of his body for musculoskeletal symmetry and health, as well as self-defense potentiality, okay? So from a left punch, Seidokan number 1, hey! This time I do switch it, so I'm blocking mirror image. Number 2, hey! Side step, same punch. 3, hey! Forward side, roundhouse kick. 4, hey! Forward side, nukite coming in. Face punch, hey! Underneath, block. Now again, because I switched to my left side, I'm away from his strong hand, which I wouldn't have been if I'd done the right-handed version. So there are advantages, disadvantages, but I'm trying now to learn the opposite side. 6, hey! Now here's where right-handed 7, hey! Right-handed 7, I can't do that on his left hand, hey, because I'm bending his arm the way it's supposed to bend, and therefore he's not uncomfortable. So I have to do the left-handed side. Hey! 8, hey! Again, because of the sweep, I'm going to be on the opposite side, left-handed. 9, hey! Punch. 10, hey! And 11, hey! Up. That's basically it. I really didn't need to do them all left-handed. You can get the idea of how to reverse them. But learning how to do those opposite sides for teaching, for musculoskeletal symmetry and balance, strengthening your weak side is always good, and for self-defense in case things get reversed up. Sometimes we just screw up. We were working a technique tonight, going into a wrist lock, and he's coming in with a punch or a knife, and I get it here. If my right hand's on top, I go this way. If my left hand's on top, I go this way. And I taught the technique, left hand on top, but somebody made a mistake. Oh, wrong side stance, wrong side ball. What do? Well, you can't say, oh, you did it wrong, you got to punch again, Ange. My whole body's a weapon. We can't play that game with Joe Blow on the street, drunk mugger, whatever. You start where you are, and if you screwed up, you better have something in your pocket ready to go. So that's my first requirement moving from Shodan to Nidan. Next week I will be in Okinawa with Master McCarthy and his seminars. Spend some time hopefully with Ronnie Nix. We'll get together, have a good time, and whatever I do there will be next week's Seidokan Saturday. Until then, thanks for joining. Like, share, subscribe, do all the fun things, leave a comment, especially if you don't like it, tell me why. It won't hurt my feelings, I'm relatively thick-skinned. But until then, as always, let's keep practicing.